What's up, and welcome to Nighttime at the Nerd Bar. We're on episode 19.
What?
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 I mean, we're almost legal drinking age. We were legal age last week, so it's moving along. My goodness.
We just missed St. Patrick's Day for drinking age.
Right. Oh, I know. I wore. Let me move the banner. I'm like, where's my banners here? There. I have my Midori no Hibi shirt that I was like, wait, a little past St. Patrick's Day, but still showing that green love.
Oh, I wore my little green cat shirt, but it's in the laundry because I wore it on St. Patrick's Day. So
that's fair.
We get the Elhofer Island Goddess Dolman.
Oh, there you
go.
The
fashion blanket.
Yes. Well, welcome. Thank you for joining us. We'll be talking Ranking of Kings, some cool stuff we've been watching, little Jujutsu Kaisen, and more. So stick around for all that. We do have a live chat going on. Speaking of, hello, Gigadera.
Hey.
What's up?
How we
doing? If you're
watching
it later, no worries. Comment down below your thoughts on the episodes. And we're only doing 7, 8, 9. So if you've gone ahead, please, no spoilers.
Yes.
But yes.
Be kind, etc., etc.
Exactly. I'm Carrie Lane. Thank you so much for being here. And then my co-host, this way.
I'm Katie Cullen. Hello, hello.
Yeah, we got a lot of, I feel like my sleeve trim kind of matches your sweater.
It does a bit. Yeah, I'm here for it.
Yeah, and lighting-wise is interesting because this is more green in person, but however my lighting is here, it seems to be a little more on the blue, but I'll take it. But
oh yeah, I'm sure our clothes don't actually match IRL. This is kind of a wild shade. Like it's a good time. But no, I have my Sushi Cats dress from Black Milk, which is hard to see when I'm scooted that far forward, but it's cats and sushi because some of us want to be adorable when we have to go into the office for work.
This is, and then can't go wrong with cats and sushi.
Oh yeah.
Yes. Well, first off, starting with things we're excited about, which we mentioned last week because now it is available. Jujutsu Kaisen 0 was in theaters, premiered on Friday. There was an LA screening as well as some other major cities. They had some of the voice actor cast there. They gave away shirts and some other posters.
I think they gave away shirts from the Uniqlo line that dropped.
Yes.
Which is wild. The Uniqlo lines for stuff are usually pretty dang good.
They looked really cool. Jasmine, who was a guest on our show, throwing back to that, she did a video and I saw those. And we were sent the press release stuff. Not able to attend, but I'm like, oh, that's so fun. But
yeah,
we do have more of a brief review on the Fanversation website. I didn't want to really give any spoilers. And oftentimes, I think sometimes the less you know about a movie is better because then you don't build it up. It's one of those, it's good, go see it. You don't have to watch the show. That's the main points. And also go to the Fanversation website there, and as well as on the channel here for interviews with the voice cast. So those are super fun. Check them out if you haven't watched it yet. And yeah, so just excited that the movie's out. If you've watched the film, no spoilers, but let us know what you thought of it.
Yeah.
Katie, what are some things you've been excited about from this week?
Well, on a slightly different note, I mentioned the same episode that we had Jasmine on, actually. I recommended the 10-minute Power Hour by the Game Grumps with the comment that it would be back. It's back today. They are releasing bi-weekly episodes. The definition of bi-weekly, that means every other week, because, of course, that word has two definitions. Why make life simple? So they are releasing a new episode every other week on the YouTube channel The Grumps, which is separate from the Game Grumps channel. And this week they are, if anyone watched Unus Annus, which is for those who didn't, it was a YouTube channel with, and this is the point where I blank on names, it was Markiplier and another YouTuber who essentially took on the characters of Unus and Annus and did new things throughout the year. And then at the end of the year, they deleted the entire channel. So it was very much a year-long transient experience. It's, I personally did not follow it. I know a lot of people who did, who were really into it and really loved it. And I still see the GIFs, the fan art, the theories, all the fun stuff continues to cross my dash on multiple social media platforms. This episode of The Grumps of 10-minute Power Hour is playing Uno with Unus Annus. So a good time. A good time. And
That
if
game
you
can get
are,
intense.
it can. It's not quite friendship ruiner levels like Monopoly is,
True.
but like Achievement Hunter did what they were calling Uno the movie because they had a Let's Play that was over 90 minutes long. So
Wow.
yeah, it was impressive for the time. And then you look at the 8-hour long Victorious YouTube video that we have nowadays, and it's like, okay, long form videos are a thing on YouTube. I remember when you had to have special permission to have a video over 5 minutes. So, like, we've come a long way. But yeah, definitely 10-minute power hour. It's on the Grumps. If you haven't ever watched it, the one that I keep going back to right now is the mini golf one, followed by the arcade one because they filmed them back to back. If you are in any capacity familiar with Burbank, California, you need to watch the We Switched Our Hair episode because the ongoing monologue of come on down to Burbank, California is one of the funniest examples of regional humor I have heard in a very long time. Like if you've been to Burbank, if you know anything about Burbank, just the continued come on down to Burbank, California is like, oh yeah, no. Aaron Hansen understands Burbank, California for better and also for worse. But yeah, 10-minute power hour. Good times, great
Nice.
oldies. It's all on YouTube. Enjoy it. It is such a blast.
Yes. Also, give me a shout out. We got Teng in the chat referring back to Jujutsu Kaisen. Had a good weekend box office haul.
Yeah.
Yes. Always excited when anime movies are in theaters and doing well. So yes.
Yeah.
I was gonna say I guess we'll just get into Ranking of Kings. So those were the kind of big
Yeah,
news.
those are-
And now we've bumped it up because spring season for anime is coming up quick. So we're like, you know what, we're gonna do 3 episodes now. So we're moving it along.
I want to do a little point of order here before we get started on the content because
Yeah.
I am somewhat dissatisfied with my experience.
Oh.
This is the first week that I stopped watching on Funny and went to Crunchyroll and started
Okay.
using their app. And I watch almost everything nowadays with subtitles, regardless of what language it's in, because
Sure.
it's just easier for me to keep track of things.
Yes.
And then if there's a distraction, I don't lose anything.
Mm-hmm.
Crunchyroll, at least for this title, I don't know if that's the case with all of their titles, but I did a little crowdsourcing and I think it might be. Crunchyroll does not provide English subtitles or closed captions if you are watching a show in English.
That's interesting.
It's an accessibility problem, honestly. Like I'd
say
need it.
check the like, you know, if you're making a technical error complaint and see if that could be a thing, because that was, remember way back when I was talking, I think I talked about Kami-sama Kiss, that the simulcast version had subs and then like embedded in the video, but then if you went to the uncut version, it did like embedded subtitles and subtitles on top, and you couldn't read it. You couldn't turn them off. And I'm like, all right, fine. Hopefully I'm not missing that much. So maybe it'd be a technical error.
This was just, I went into the settings and checked, and there was nothing available. Like went to subtitles, closed caption, and it just said none.
And just that title though? You haven't encountered that with something else?
I haven't checked with other titles because we wanted to watch the rest of The Vampire Dies in no time, and it has not made its way to Crunchy yet.
Okay.
But that's one of those things I noticed where, like, if this is a thing, it's kind of a problem.
If you've experienced something like this, please leave comments, let us know, and then how have you addressed the issue? Because I would say see if there is a, like, you know,
I talked with a couple of other friends who are Crunchyroll users, and they're like, yeah, no, it's a thing. So I'm hoping that we all just manage to find the few titles that don't have it, but I am a little worried about a platform that doesn't have that sort of accessibility for its English language users.
Yeah, well, I watch everything in subtitles regardless of what language I'm watching it in. Like,
did you get it then for Ranking of Kings?
No, I'm watching it on Funimation still, just because I was already watching it on Funimation. So then I was like, well, I'll finish it to keep track of where I was. But things that you should check out, which we'll get to later. But I'm watching Astrid and Lily Save the World on Hulu. and their subtitles were keeping up with what was happening in the episode, and then either I paused it or commercial break, something, and then they were not lined up. And I'm like, all right, I'm turning them off. It was just too distracting to have them be not timed with what's in the episode. I'm like,
and I've seen some Amazon Prime subtitles that are just like,
or they're so delayed.
that was an
Yeah, and you're
option.
like, okay. Yeah.
I'm pickier now that
Yeah.
I work at a dubbing and subtitling company. And now that I have a better idea of accessibility needs, because that was not something that was on my radar, you know, a few years ago. And now it's like, no, this is very important. Like, even if I don't personally need it, even if it's a preference for me, like for other people, it is a necessity and it is
Mhm.
important. So like,
Yeah. It should be available as an option.
yeah. Yeah. So it's one of those things where like, it was a little weird watching 3 episodes instead of 2 because
Yeah.
we really ramped up what happened. Hulu subtitles lag very bad. Yeah.
Fair. Yeah. It was fine for part of it, and part of it's not. I'm reaching over to my computer.
Yeah.
Y'all
Yeah,
are
no,
over, what are you doing?
I've been mainlining MasterChef
Yeah, that's
Junior
fair.
on Hulu, and I haven't had issues with those subtitles, but I also wonder, like, what company did them? Does Hulu do it for everyone, or
Mhm.
is it per client and then they upload to Hulu?
Yep.
We're getting into the nitty-gritty of that sort of thing. So it's
Yes.
possible that different titles are subtitled or captioned by
Yeah.
different companies with different standards or different file types or different, you know. Yeah, we are.
If you're newer to
what's
our
Katie's
channel,
day job?
if you're new to our channel, we dive into all other adjacent topics to the world of anime and such too. So, but it's all part of your experience as well. So it's not like it's not part of it.
Bottom line, accessibility, very important.
Yes. Because we all want to enjoy it. So it's like, because these episodes were good, and this was a nice chunk. I like how we ended there, because I think if we had done the 7 and 8, the way 8 ends would have been like, I am loving the flashbacks. I'm like, thank you, context on people so much. And it doesn't feel like, by the way, this is what these people are. It's like, you know what? So that thing you were wondering, we got you. I'm like, yes, yeah. Thank you. I was wondering about this.
I do appreciate that we got. I want to take a step back and just talk about King Boss's entire deal for a minute.
I feel there's a lot there's going on, and we're not going to find out until like way towards the end, because it gives me I don't know if I'm supposed to trust you vibes, or if that's on purpose to be you're not sure, because it makes it seem like he's being kind of a bad guy. But I think that's like a more of a red herring, like making you like, well, is he? I'm like, I don't know. So what are you thinking about it?
I was thinking a lot of things. I was thinking so many things. I love what we got over the course of the flashback versus how we see him acting now. We see him start off as, I just want to be the strongest, I'll do anything. And we have
the deal with the devil.
The deal with this demon. And admittedly, when we first started watching episode 7, I had accidentally selected the wrong language, because it turns out Russian is the top option in Crunchyroll. So for a minute there, it was like, hang on. So for a minute there, it was, hang on a minute, because we had a Russian dub, and it was like, wait, no, I messed this up. Hang on. So when we got the demon speaking whatever language it is they're speaking, I had a moment of, did I mess up the languages again? Oh, no, this is, okay, cool. This is not Devil is a Part-Timer flashbacks. This is, ask me about that one time I screwed up watching Devil as a Part-Timer. But yes, we started with someone who was willing to make a deal with a demon and willing to sacrifice future progeny in order to achieve their means, and then goes searching out another giant specifically for, hey, you're the strongest, I'm the strongest, let's have a kid.
Though specifically it was a little bit adorable, even though it was like, want to breed with me, woman, a little bit, but she's kind of like, all right. And I'm like, oh, okay, they're kind of cute, and he blushes too. So I'm like, all right, it's not totally like, I just want to mate with you. It's a little bit more like, all right, they kind of flirted in their really awkward way too.
That is how it started. Because I think the levels that we kind of need to look at here is where Boss started, where he went before his death, and also the relationship with Lady Miranja. I think it was
Yes,
Lady
with
Manamana.
Miranjo, and
Lady Miranja. Yep.
I like that her name almost looks like Mirror/Mirage. I was like,
Yep.
because I'm all, who is
We
this lady that he probably has a relationship as well?
Oh, I think former Squeeze, and she
Yeah.
never got over it. I do think that part of him
Hmm.
marrying that Boji's mom was, yes, you need a queen, you need a son in order for this deal to go through, et cetera, et cetera. I don't think either of them expected for him to fall in love with Boji's mom, because I do think
Mhm.
that happened. And then also we got that, oh, hey, he got more strength, he got better, my son must be born. And then going and seeing Boji for the first time. They say that parenthood changes you. I can't vouch for that. Obviously, I'm not a parent.
Yeah,
And
same.
I
I'm like,
know that that is not necessarily a universal experience for every parent. But I think we can say that definitely happened to Boss. And I think Boss, upon seeing Boji and going, this is my son, oh my God, my son is so tiny. And just knowing I did this to him. This is my fault. This is my doing.
mhm,
And then turning it into, my son will want for nothing. I'm
mhm.
going to make this a kingdom. I'm going to be king. My son will be royalty. Yeah. Boss got more attached than he
Yep.
planned to, especially seeing Boji. Tengen, you are 100% on the money there. I also think that he cared a good deal about both of his wives and also
Yes.
about Daida.
Also, quick note
So
with her from Tengen says Hilling is amazing. The flashbacks fleshing out her character a lot. I really do like that they're
we
making these
stand a
characters.
queen.
Yes, and I like that these characters are becoming, in a way, here's a pun, more than just two-dimensional. There are levels to them. There are layers, and it's not they are purely
Yeah.
mean or whatever. There's a lot more going on, which is nice, and to see that context.
Yeah. And I think what we have to, because I was talking about this with Megan, because I watch with her, with my wonderful roommate. And so, anyone who watches our reaction videos knows we watch something and then we sit there and talk about it for like 40 minutes. And we were talking about, okay, so what is Boss's deal now? Is what's going on his doing, or is this Miranja acting on her own? Was there a plan for him to come back from the dead using Daida, or is this
She
her machinations because she wants him back and she wants him for her own? Like, at this point, we don't know, but given the way Boss is acting, it's honestly a 50-50, because we have, yes, there's going to be an attempt on Queen Hilling's life, and I'm not going to try to stop it, but I'm going to warn her bodyguard.
Yes, but
Like,
also
I am
he
going
says
to
that weird line,
reinstate.
like, he said also, he's like, "Oh, that old promise." So I'm almost wondering if it's sometimes when he makes these deals, he's not really thinking it's
Ahead.
gonna really happen. Because
Mhm.
yeah, they're like, "Oh, okay, we have to kill Hilling," and he's like, "Oh, that old thing." It's like,
Oh, yeah.
okay,
Whatever. Yeah, sure.
um,
Just so I think the trajectory of this story, I think one of the things that's really going to shape the trajectory of this story is what Boss wants, what he's
yes,
thinking, what his deal is. Is he just along for the ride here? Does he want to become the strongest again? Just it's all weird. And then he wanted Boji to be king. So
he
was
seems
he originally
happy
planning
though that Boji's list considered the strongest. Though I do
and
wonder,
alive,
and alive. I do kind of wonder if that's not a literal thing too, because it's like you could look at someone as strong and not literally physically strong, but they're strong in other ways. And I'm wondering if that's
Yeah.
playing into things where people assume strength and they assume it must mean physical. And it's like, no, there's a lot more that you can have with strength. And I'm like, ooh, I'm hoping that's gonna like unravel in a way.
I'm hoping that will too. I think you're onto something there. But yeah, I think just so much of this is contingent on Boss's mindset and on what he does, because he's not being subtle.
No,
He's not
not anymore.
pretending to be Daida. He's just here. Sup.
And he's keeping things secret from Moranjo. He's
Mhm.
like telling them secretly, and she's asking Apis,
Apis.
like,
I don't trust him.
I don't trust him anymore, the way he's hanging out with her too much.
What
But
is his deal?
yes. And just the fact that that boss is keeping things secret from her very specifically and giving very specific instructions to his loyal, like, palace guard people. I'm like, because especially destroy that, like, underworld portal in my basement.
Yeah.
All right.
Like,
Cool.
he
Thanks.
outed Domas and then kept him and Hokuro alive. Also, Domas.
This is funny little haircut. Yeah.
Yeah, his did you do that yourself haircut, and then his incredibly steep slide, and then just this, oh wait, Boji's alive. Like, okay, we're definitely doing better, but yikes.
He has some issues going on. Yep.
And
He's
what's
gonna
interesting
need some
is,
time.
like, I don't think that Boss wanted Boji dead. I don't think he wanted.
No.
I think he legitimately did want Boji to be king as he was. I don't think he wanted him to be used as a vessel. I don't think he wanted him dead.
No.
The order to kill Boji came from Moranjo in the same way that the moving to make Daida king came from Moranjo. Like, these are her plans.
Yep.
So it's interesting to see Boss interfering with her plans.
Yep.
But
you know,
I
have
completely
my
lost that train of thought.
No, sorry. I was gonna say though, speaking of Daida, I have a teeny bit of, like, I feel bad for you. I'm like, no, you are a punk ass kid that you were an idiot to be like, yeah, sure, I'm gonna go along with these plans. You can totally manipulate me. No,
he's like 12.
I know, but like
Here's
I said,
the
I feel
thing.
a little bad, and then I'm like, idiot. I'm like,
oh no, I am backing way up from the Joffrey Baratheon comparison, because
I don't
that's
think
what
he's evil. He's just
no. I'm gonna say I'm gonna argue with you on that one, because
overly ambitious child who's a little immature.
And here's the thing: now that we know more about Boss and what he was willing to do for power, and the sheer amount of emphasis that is placed on pure physical power in this kingdom, because that's what Boss was ever after. That's what this is founded on. Like, we get it from Domas with, I have based my entire sword fighting style on King Boss. We get these fights with monsters. We get everything is based on physical strength. And you have a second son, second in line for the throne, after his older brother, who is deaf, mute, who is deaf, mute, presumed to be an idiot, even though we know he really, really isn't, and just all over presumed to be unfit for the throne, in a kingdom that is everything is physical strength, everything is might, in a world where kingdoms and kings are ranked on physical strength, and your dad is number 3. Being raised in that environment, how much of an influence is that going to have on you? Never mind the mirror. God knows how Moranjo got to him in the first place. We don't know how she got into the mirror. We don't know how that made its way to Daida, but she's the one where I'm looking at her going, I don't trust you as far as I could throw you. And I think I could hurl that mirror pretty far if I handled it like a hammer, like an Olympic hammer.
Giving him a really good a frame to look at him at.
Because I think we have to look at Hilling on one side, trying to raise him to be a good prince, a good king,
he's
a good
spoiled
whatever.
Little child, though, because he's a meanie to his brother, and it's like just his attitude. He's very entitled, and I think, I mean, this is ignoring circumstances that would lead him there. I'm curious how he'll be coming out of this weird mental prison that he's in. You know, because like the question of like, where is he? Which that was cool. I did like the,
I cried.
Mom could hear him, and he's like, Mom.
That whole sequence, I'm just like, nope, I'm emotionally compromised. Good night, everybody. Just crying like that. Honestly, that sort of stuff is my jam. Let's be real. That's one of
Yeah.
those wild tropes that I like.
Well,
I
that was
don't
when I
think
do feel bad for him, though. I'm like, no, this really is just a child who wants his mom, and this is really is a mom who cares so much about her child, and she
Yeah.
was ready to do anything to protect him,
Yeah.
even possibly hurting his body. Which go,
Uh, her
Dorsch going, whoa,
bodyguard.
whoa, whoa,
Yeah.
do not. That is his shell. We cannot
Yeah.
hurt that right now.
It's like, hang on. Maybe don't stab your son. And just,
Yes.
oh my God,
Yep.
all of that was unbelievably good. And I think we also need to take another look at Queen Hilling because, every time we see her in a flashback, she's looking at Boji like, I am going to mom the shit out of that child.
Yep.
I'm going to mom that
He's
child
trying so
so hard.
hard. I'm like,
I am going to love him and he's going to love me and it's going to be great.
he's
But also
Elvira. I'm giving you so much love. And you're like, whoa, back up a little bit.
but also the flashback with meeting Boss and him basically crushing his club into a diamond for her. She wasn't royalty to start with. She looked like she was either just, normal commoner or possibly in some form of religious order given the
Yeah, it was
outfit.
interesting. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like we don't know, but I seriously doubt that she was raised in aristocracy. So she also kind of has to figure out, I'm the queen, all eyes are on me, people are following me. What do I do? So we see her, snapping at the servant who was teaching her sign language because it didn't work. He ran away. Why didn't it work? And then walking it back after the uneven power dynamic has bigger consequences than she thought of. So she's trying her best in a
Dorsch
very
commenting. He's like,
difficult
she's so
situation.
awkward.
Yeah. I mean, she's trying her best in a
is.
very, very difficult situation.
Yes.
And so I don't think she knew how to raise a prince. I don't think she knew how to raise a prince in any of these circumstances. And let's be real, these are wild circumstances
Also,
for
just following up that mother that this child loves so much. It's like, how do you follow up with that? It's
I mean, I'm talking about raising Daida. Like, she doesn't know how to raise a prince.
But I mean,
she doesn't know how to.
too.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Trying to connect with him.
Yeah, we have a blended family, which can be difficult to get accustomed to. And again, like, this isn't my experience. I can't speak for it. And again, this is also not everyone's experience. So, but that can be difficult circumstances to get adjusted to. And then you have blended family and also your royalty and all eyes are on you. And also all of the weird magic stuff that goes on in this world. Like, these are not the easiest circumstances to function. And Hillig we just see her straight up and down doing her best. And she is feisty and abrasive as a person, very driven, very into it. But again, that abrasiveness on the side when things don't work well or don't go right. So I love that we're seeing her better rounded as a person. But the more we see of her, the more I understand why Daida turned out the way he did. Because we also see him, like, raised in strength, wanting to fight his brother, wanting to, like, all of the stuff. We had bad first impressions of him. But you take him in the context of his father, the kingdom he was raised in, etc. But we also see, like, oh, this is how his mom works. These are the personality traits that he probably picked up from his mom. This is how they're expressed. And then he's got Miranjo whispering stuff in his ear like, sure, you can totally be the king. We'll make you the king. Like, he's 12 and he knows he's not in line for the throne, but he wants it because dad was king and he's stronger and he's, stronger than his older brother and he'll be a more fitting king and he can totally do, kids think they're immortal.
Yes, which
so it's,
I guess in a way they pseudo are right now because he drank the rebirth immortality thingy.
I'm willing to cut Daida a lot more slack now.
So do you think it was interesting too that the dad, when he Boss, speaking of Daida and then Boji, because he also says, I sacrificed another son. So is that, the idea that Boji's, at that point, he doesn't know Boji's alive. And then he's taking over Daida's body and doesn't seem to be like, whoops, it's all right. I possibly have destroyed my child, but it's cool. I'm like, okay.
I don't think any of us on this side of the fourth wall know enough about
True.
that
There, I feel there's a
weird
lot more going
resurrection
on. Like,
ritual.
no, we need a
Yeah,
lot more information.
there's a
Um,
whole lot of wild stuff going on here. But like, he already knew that he sacrificed Boji's
yes.
future prospects to make himself stronger. And I don't think that hit home as anything more than theoretical
Yeah.
until he saw Boji as a person.
Yes. I was gonna say actually another one too. I was like, oh, here, the other flashbacks we got, and speaking of strength and growing, Babin. Oh my goodness, like how his journey and taking care of the snakes the way he did, and just how he rose the ranks was cool to see where he came from.
Yeah. And I'm just
I
going to
like
say,
that.
I called it. He's chilling with the Hydra, getting better.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah,
also
it was
love
like
that the
get this
Hydra
done.
had to be saved twice. Or he saved the Hydra, and then Boji found it and went, please help.
Yes, that probably
Wild.
sounds about right.
I think that's about the timeline.
Yeah. Yes.
Yes.
To say the other random thing that I'm like, okay, wait, speaking of kings and weirdness, okay, Despa and training in secret.
I love
What do you think that's about?
I don't know. It might be. I'm willing to buy what Despa said on a surface level in terms
True.
of it being a self-confidence thing and not
Mm.
wanting to show off. Like, you fall on your ass a lot when you're learning, regardless of what you're learning. This
Yes.
is why bikes have training wheels for kids. This is why, stuff like that. When you learn, you're not good at things when you start. And Boji has spent his entire life with people looking at him like, you're never going to amount to anything. Like, people telling him you can't get stronger. And it's like, oh, it turns out he's cursed as hell. That's why.
Yeah,
but
it's like, well, literally. But I still
having
think he
a
could
different
grow a little bit though,
approach.
because yes, a different approach to it.
Who knows, man? Maybe we can get him his strength back some other way. Like, I don't
Yeah.
know if there is going to be a reversal or removal of the curse. I
Yeah.
don't know.
Or
It
could
would
it be
really
an
depend on how the
endurance
show
strength?
treated that.
Yeah, because like him running, like maybe that's not stronger like muscles,
That's
but
endurance.
he will have like that was, but that is still a strength.
Yeah,
So.
that's again in a world where this, or in a kingdom rather, where this is measured by straight up and down physical strength.
Yeah.
And we already know that Boji is a very intelligent human being with great talents at evasion. Like, I think we're working with, I think you were right about it, working with a different metric of strength. But we're also working with whatever Boji's mystery weapon is that he's chosen for himself to use. And I can definitely understand, like, I'm learning things. I don't want other people to see that I'm learning things yet. Like, when I've got it down, I'll show you and it'll be great.
Yeah.
This also keeps us from having the 500 episode training montage.
Yes.
Like, I grew up on DBZ. I'm okay with not that.
Yeah, I liked what little we saw, and it was like the cleaning too, and Kage being adorable as ever, and
Love
Despa
Kage so
like,
much.
hey, you need to encourage him when he needs it. Kage's like, of course,
I got you, fam.
I'm help my friend. And you're like,
just to being like, you got it, Boji, go Boji. It was like,
yeah.
I love Kage.
Despa, Tengen says, Despa is so cool. He's helping Boji a lot already. Boji did somehow split that rock. Yes, we did get that moment. We had our Demon Slayer and other stuff of split the rock.
Oh, I forgot Rurouni Kenshin flashbacks.
Yep, that too. It's like, it's fine. He's figured out his weapon. Or, I had half thought, I mean, I've seen some gifs that I'm kind of think I know where it's going, but I had the moment in watching this thinking it was more like just himself, because like the way he did the training with the weird bird things, and it was like movement and then kind of a little more like, martial arts style. I'm like, okay, maybe it was something to do with more just using what he can do, like more of a kung fu style where it's less of a brute strength and you're using the energy of the other person to make your moves.
That's Tai Chi, isn't it?
I
don't remember. I am not an expert.
Maybe.
I feel
I'm
like Tai Chi is the one that uses
flow.
movement and flow,
I feel
leverage.
or maybe they both have
Someone
their
in
own way
chat
of
will throw
doing
it in there.
Yes.
Someone in chat will know. We're counting on you, chat. But yeah, I really do think it is alternative training from what we're thinking, and I really do think we are getting an alternative value of strength, like you say, and I appreciate the way the show goes about it.
All right, I was looking it up, and someone was pointing out also Aikido.
Yes,
does it too. I was like, there we go.
Yes.
And some does. Then somebody else was saying there are some kung fu types. I'm like, I feel there's a few
yeah,
that at some point you are doing like,
yeah,
yes, my
yes.
impromptu in the chair stuff. But yeah, I'm really curious to see what he chooses, and I do feel like I like. Despa was really adorable of paying him and everything, and I like that he's our like pretty boy, but he's not too much of like a jerk about being beautiful, because sometimes
Yeah.
those characters are like, I'm gorgeous, like love and adore me, and he's a bit more like, I know I'm pretty, right? But then he's nice as well,
Yeah.
He's just like, I'll help you out. And then his weird fight, Gigadera says could be a lot of them, honestly. Yeah. Okay, fair. But Despa's not that I disliked him, but I feel he's growing on me.
Oh yeah. And the whole bit about Dessa, the townsfolk raising the statue for Dessa, and Dessa defacing it because he has insecurities about his looks. It's like, oh, buddy.
Mm-hmm.
And I would imagine that those insecurities were only made worse by the fact that Despa is incongruously pretty.
Yeah, like he has his lashes and it's like sparkle.
Oh yeah.
And, I do like too the whole bit about eating, and I feel this is a nugget of information of the giants eat things whole and makes it so they're not as affected by poisons, and so we cannot eat his food anymore. Because I was kind of curious of, I'm like, Boji likes it so much, maybe it's fine, and they're like
and then that's the point where you take a step back and you look at the assassination attempts and go, the poison meat wouldn't have killed him anyway.
True, but Kage didn't know that, which also, speaking of Kage, I thought it was really weird that why didn't he mention the curse to Despa of like, when Despa's like, well, he physically can't get stronger, and Kage go, oh, by the way, when we were at that other place,
they were unconscious.
Oh, I thought he heard that.
No, Kage and Boji were
that was
both
when they were laying down and like,
yep.
Oh, okay.
Yep, and Dessa was like,
I was about to say,
they didn't get killed by the curse gas because they were already cursed. Yes. Wild, wake them up, let's talk. Yeah, but yeah, no, they were sacked out for that, so they didn't. Okay. That information was for the audience.
I was about to say, I'm like, come on, Kage, you seem to really have it all together. I'm like, why aren't you sharing this, my dude? But I like all his hidden pockets, essentially, of like trying to find the money. He's like, hold on.
He is Hammer Space.
Yeah, and how he eats is just super funny as well.
Just Kage is amazing. He's such a good boy.
Yes.
And the fact that he knows how to do like all the housework and cooking and whatnot because he did it for that one guy in the flashbacks. Yep. It's just like, oh.
And he's kind of happy to do it too.
Yeah.
I think, he's happy to be a part of it.
Yeah.
Yes, there we go. Tengen says the animation went crazy sharp again with Kage and Despa, their reactions to the food, and the repeat moment. They're like, and like, that was super funny. Of them.
What are we saving the Sakuga for? The food reaction.
Yeah,
but there's another fight this episode. The food. Okay.
I feel like, trust me, it's gonna be. But also,
people are gonna gif that.
In a good food thing, though, I want to eat Kage's food. The food he cooked looks so good. I was like, anime, why are you making your food look so good? It's like, makes me hungry.
The thing. This is this is one of the reasons that I keep calling this show Miyazaki with an edge, because Miyazaki food.
Yes.
If anyone could make Miyazaki food in real life, oh my God. Like, it is very difficult to find anything similar to it. Real life doesn't measure up to how animation makes it look. Holy cow. This Miyazaki food.
Yeah,
It just is. It's very much it's extremely Miyazaki, and then occasionally it goes, and here's the weird shit, children. Then occasionally it goes, we're gonna be a psychological horror movie for the next like 45 seconds. Buckle in. I love it. I love it so much. I
Speaking
love
of
this
horror,
show.
that made me think of them force feeding the Dida the beverage that and then those weird things, and I'm like,
let's be real.
Hmm.
Dida wandering through the mental abyss trying to find the way out, just again, that was the psychological horror bit when he really started just losing it. Like,
Yep.
yeah, this is why even when they have people in solitary confinement, they take them out for an hour each day and be like, let's get you some social interaction, because people were not meant to be alone, and
No.
total isolation and sensory deprivation like that tends to break people pretty badly.
But speaking of empathy, he says, I wonder if this is how my brother feels.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh, okay, we have maybe a little bit of growth.
Insight.
And how does he maintain his sanity? Because if you have no way to judge how far you've walked, like I think for me it'd be hard to be in one spot, but like how do you not lose your mind in that emptiness? So,
and he occasionally hits an invisible barrier because sure, that might as well
happen. I feel
happen.
like I would walk along it and be like, where
do the maze thing.
Yeah.
Put your hand on the wall and go.
He has time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, just it's and again, I want to step back and ask, how old is Dida? You can't really tell from the art style, but I don't think. I think he's still fairly young. There's a reason I've been like, oh yeah, he's 12. Like, I think he's still fairly young. I don't think he's a teenager yet, or if he is, he's a young one. I used to work at a high school. I kind of have some metric of like, what can kids that age handle? And the answer is not this.
What did we say before? I think we had the idea that he was more like 8-ish, and then Boji's more like 10, 11.
Maybe.
Something like that.
I'd almost peg Dida as a little older than that, but then the question, because, Boji doesn't age beyond toddler, so
yeah,
Boji could be like 16 he could be 15, for all we know.
Like,
I'd buy that, and then everyone still treats him like a child because they think he's an idiot, and they don't know he's not.
He looks so young.
He looks extremely baby.
But it's also, sometimes the way we treat people that are small, like that are petite and young looking, is they're treated like children. It's like, but they're not. So stop it. That's rude.
So again, it's not knowing anyone's ages does kind of give this like a timeless sort of feel.
True.
And again, like Mark went up in the Miyazaki category. But also not knowing anyone's ages makes it really hard to peg where Dida's behavior falls on, like, is this reasonable for someone his age? Is this a little young? Is he a little spoiled? Like, it's hard to tell. But again, I don't think he's hit teenager.
No, I don't think so.
So, which makes a lot of this make more sense, because when you're that young, it's a lot of relying on the adults around you. And it also makes sense that he would listen to Miranja, her telling him what he wants to hear.
Yep.
Because that's an example of an adult latching onto a child and going, dance, puppet, dance.
Yep.
Speaking of dance, puppet, dance, that was a wild scene.
I was like, wait, which part?
With the automaton and the dance?
Yes.
Yeah.
That was like...
That was me going, oh, they were a couple before all of this. They were,
So it doesn't feel like she was on that same page of, speaking of multiple wives, from our last show we recovered. So I'm wondering if Boss is, did he move on from her and she wasn't ready for that and not tell her because he wants to be strong and then produce a strong child? Or is it the, he's okay to have multiple wives. He just hasn't let them all know that, by the way, there's some other ones. Because
I'm legitimately wondering.
The mom died. Boji's mom died.
No,
I don't feel we've gotten that specifically.
They might have mentioned it. If they did, I don't remember it. Chat, is that something that they would have said by
That
this
we know
point?
at this point, yeah.
Yes, in the show, by this episode. Because the
It
other
feels
thing
like it's
is,
probably a tragic, like,
yeah, I'm
sudden death.
guessing got sick.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
my other thought too.
But I feel like Boss just keeps like picking these women and going, all right, utilitarian. We're gonna have a strong kid so I can steal his strength. Utilitarian. We're gonna have a kid so I can have someone on and then like he keeps falling in love with these people he marries.
It could
Like
be, yeah.
Moranjo over here,
Yeah.
like,
All right. Tengen says not at this point. All right,
good to
thank
know.
you.
Good to know.
Oh no.
Yep. Oh yeah, I'm betting that too.
Yeah, no, we'll probably hear something.
I was gonna say, and from those
It's
two
okay.
reactions, I am guessing that Tengen has seen everything that's out so far, and Derek is watching along with us.
Maybe.
That's my guess. But yeah,
though I think looking ahead, I think there's 17 episodes. So we're at 9. So, but I think it's going to be more like we might have to split it just in like 2 more episodes, and our last one will be a long one to finish it off.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
just so y'all heads up. But
we'll take a look.
you know.
We'll figure it out. You know, follow
yeah,
the Fanversation Twitter. We'll let you know on there.
I'm ready for it to like watch a bunch together because it is like, so what is going to happen? I feel there's so many things we found out about people, but then there's so much more that's like, you're very strategically laying little tiny breadcrumbs out for us. So it's like, oh, okay, never mind. I thought it was already done. Tengen says the final in Japanese airs this Thursday. Oh, okay, cool. So maybe it'll be 18 or something. But when I looked up, I thought it had been all done. So that's cool. There's more.
Yeah, I have no idea.
Double air. So 18. Okay, so never mind about my numbers. We'll have to redo that.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. And again, follow either or both.
There'll be 23 total.
Yeah, because I thought I saw 21 on Verve at one point, and I'm like, that's a lot. Not on Verve, on Funny.
You know why? Maybe one of it, because that was the other thing. I think with the change is Funimation isn't going to be getting new episodes of things, so that platform still exists and you could still watch some things there, but you won't be getting the new episodes, and thus you need to be going over to Crunchyroll to watch new content.
I think Funny's going to finish out the shows that they have, but not get more new shows.
Yeah, maybe that's
so. Like the next season of My Hero Academia is not going to be on Funny. That's going to be on Crunchy, and probably still on Hulu at some point. Maybe I think Hulu's owned by Disney, so who even knows what the contracts look like?
Yeah,
but yeah, for this show, honestly, and I know this is not what we're doing, I would argue that this show is best consumed week to week. Because I think that because just from the watching experience the other night and doing 3 episodes at a time and putting those pieces together and going back through, I think because of the way this show is constructed with the flashbacks and with the extra context backloaded, it's better, honestly, week to week to have, here's this new information, this new flashback,
and
then and go back and plug in that information and go, how does this change viewpoints? How does this change what we think about the character, what we know about their motivations, why they approach things? How does this change what we know going forward? And so I think doing multiple episodes a week, we kind of lose a little bit of that, but also I want to know what happens.
Yes, that's where I am. Of like, but okay.
This I think would have been best consumed as a slow burn, but also we are beyond that point because we didn't jump on it from the get-go. Yeah.
But that's okay. I'm glad to catch up, and I'm glad it's still turning out to be a good show. Because again, too many times where you hear about a show that's so good, and you get there and you're like, it's fine, or you are like, oh yes, you're right. This is a good one.
Or it's real good at the beginning and then it kind of goes.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah, that's me and Banished from the Heroes Party.
I couldn't quite get into that one, though you raved reviewed about it. But I was gonna say
I loved it, and then things happened.
Yeah. Okay. Was there anything else for Ranking of Kings? I feel like I have my notes. That's what I'm looking at. Of those were like the main big things I feel we talked about before we get into our next thing. All right.
I think we've hit all the salient points, or most of the salient
Mhm.
points, and one fear, and that fear is Miranda and everything she does, because she's let's go to the underworld, let's brainwash some animals
I
who
don't
really
trust
didn't
her.
want to do this,
Oh,
and then
I
let's
like
make
that they
them do
even get a
murders.
backstory essentially too. I was like,
They
are
were
we
good
gonna get backstory
boys.
for them? Oh,
They
those poor
were good
babies.
boys. She steals them and freezes them in
Manipulated.
ice and then uses them for assassination
Yes.
attempts. We don't
Yeah.
like her.
Mm-mm.
That's mean.
Yes.
Messing with the animals.
All right.
They were just fine on their own, raising babies.
Right. They were so cute. All
They
right.
were good boys.
Yes.
They were good boys.
It's like for the babies.
Also, we
And
didn't talk about the bodyguard that much, but I love him.
yes,
He's wonderful.
I was gonna,
Yes.
where'd it go? Was pulling back. I did have a Tengen, I think, had a comment about him too.
He's good. Dorsha.
Dorsha, the bodyguard was amazing. I really liked his journey too, and very understandable of like the king doesn't think I'm good, I'm going down in my ranking. It's like, no, actually you're almost more important to take care of. He trusts you, take care of this other person. His fighting style is really cool. I like the double shields.
Yeah,
like,
the spike shields.
Cool. Yes. And then when he thinks like, all right, I need to be stronger and can like level up and grow and be bigger. And of course, so convenient that you are working for someone who can heal, that I was like, please that she gets out there in time and heals him and everything. And because this show has the stakes, I'm like, they could have killed him for all we know. It's I wouldn't put it past them.
Because like she was out.
Yeah.
So it's one of those like, she's a healer. Please wake her up. Please wake her up. But
and
also,
I'm glad he's okay.
And it also gives us, again, a little more insight into Miranda and her game. She's like, oh, yes, I chose these dogs and this and that and the other. But if he takes his armor off, they'll make short work of him. And she doesn't really think about the human element of just sheer doggedness, sheer spite and duty, and just, I will keep going. I must protect her. And then again, talking with my roommate, and she brought this up when they were testing the dogs. And Boss straight up took one of them out.
Yeah.
And she brought up, was that a show of strength? Was that testing them? Or was that him knowing that Dorsha could handle 3 but not 4? And evening the odds a little bit. Like, again, Boss's game is going to affect what goes on here. And we have 2 people playing Xanatos speed chess, and I'm trying to figure out what the heck is happening.
Also, Boss does say like when the mirror goes, it didn't go through. He's like, darn, whoops, what a surprise!
Funny how that happened.
He just kind of seems
not expected.
Yeah. So, I feel I'm very curious to see more of what goes next.
Yeah, it's just that there are so many instances of, but what is your deal in this show? Like, I would like to know what some people's deals are. Thank you.
Yeah, exactly. Give him the squinty eye of like, I don't know if I trust you yet. Of like laser focused on you. Like, I don't know. Alrighty. So while we are also checking out Ranking a King, some other things we are watching, reading, and all that playing. I'll go real quick of one that, as I mentioned a little bit earlier, watching Astrid and Lily Save the World. It's a Sci-Fi Channel show, so you can watch it on Sci-Fi Channel or Hulu. And on Fanversation tomorrow, 11 a.m. PT, you can watch Interview with Danishka Esterhazy, who's the director of episodes 7 and 8, with myself as well as Yael Teagle, and super excited to talk with her about this show because it's a very fun show. I'm going over some of the episodes, and there's a lot of nuggets of representation of different things that are really nice to see in a show, very refreshing to address those kind of topics. So if you haven't checked it out, it's very fun. Like, think kind of Buffy-esque. It's quirky, it's funny, it's a little scary, but not too much. And, it's just, the other big thing is the main 2 protagonists, they're women, and you could say in a nice way, they're fat. Like, they're not little tiny ladies. They're curvy, big girls, and
they are normal looking women.
Yes, it's not oh, it's all about us like losing weight or, and it's never about that. It's that they're fabulous, beautiful women. They just don't happen to be like a little tiny little person or whatever.
Yeah.
And they're normal people. And so it's so nice to have that in a show because too often it's they're the butt of a joke or it's about like them trying to lose weight to get a guy and like no, they're just normal teenagers and they're super funny. There's been some jokes that I was like, wow, this is so spot on of, yep, that high
That
school.
tracks. That
Yep.
yep, yep.
So yeah, check that out tomorrow. If you can't watch it live, just check back here on the Fanversation channel and be caught up because we're gonna go into the episodes as well. But yeah. Katie, what about you? What have you been
I
watching?
have not been watching anything new. It's been a whole lot of everything, honestly. It's been a time.
Okay.
I have already recommended the 10-minute power hour, and I'm going to double
Yep.
down on that because it's amazing. And if you're like, but Katie, what episode should I start with? Hit me up on Twitter. I will send you links. And because I haven't been watching anything new, I am going to stick with recommending things that I watch on the regular, which is usually YouTube channels. So I don't know that I've recommended this one before, but for the horror fans in the audience, or for the people like me who want to know a little bit more and maybe don't want to sit down and experience like the whole horror movie, because it can be a lot sometimes, I would recommend the YouTube channel Dead Meat. They are very horror focused. There are interviews, there's podcasts, there's all sorts of fun stuff, but the mainstay of the channel are videos called Kill Counts, where the main host, James A. Janice, sits down and summarizes a movie, makes jokes, goes into the production and the behind the scenes stuff, especially for movies that use a lot of practical effects, which is absolutely fascinating seeing how things are put together. And also counts how many kills are in the movie. And then at the end of the video, he gives you the numbers, which are like, this is how many people died. This is the gender breakdown, which gives you this pie chart. Here is the best kill of the movie. Here is the worst kill of the movie. Like they are a lot of fun. And he's done this channel for so long that you can see his style in his videos evolve, because the first ones they're still funny, they're still good, but they're shorter. He talks faster, that early video development sort of thing.
Okay.
And then the later ones, he's more relaxed. He's got much better writing, and he writes these himself, which is amazing. He really goes into the behind the scenes footage when it's available, doing actor interviews, like pulling up the actor interviews, pulling up the behind the scenes for, again, the practical effects, how kills are created. He has done most large horror franchises that you can think of. If you kind of want to dip your toes in and go, well, I'm not really into horror, he also did the entire Jurassic Park franchise. So if you kind of want to see how the videos are without going full into the horror side, he did Jurassic Park, he did Mortal Kombat. It's horror movies, and then also maybe sometimes things that he likes that are horror adjacent. So it's a very fun channel. There is no right or wrong place to start. Just pick a kill count that you like and pick a movie that you like, see if there's a kill count for it, and run with it. He did the Hellraiser saga recently. He is currently on leave, taking a vacation. He just got married to his wife. They run the channel together. It's cute as hell. And one of his main editors is doing Tremors right now, going through the entire Tremors franchise and doing kill counts for that. And it's a blast. They are so good.
Yeah. Nice.
So yeah, the YouTube channel is Dead Meat. If you just go to YouTube, plug in the search and like movie name and then kill count, it'll pop up. Highly recommended, super fun. And for me, it has been a way to consume horror movies and learn about horror movies without sitting down for the whole thing. And like, you can tell when a kill's coming. And if you think it's going to be a bit much, you can look away. Like, for me, it's been a good way to consume horror movies and kind of get an idea about things.
Yeah. So it seems like a nice way to digest it all without being too much of like,
Yeah.
It's too overwhelming.
And also they're just funny. He's got a great sense of humor.
That's always a plus. A book I started because I did a road trip, and so I'm only a little bit into it. Do you know Cloud Cuckoo Land? Cloud Cuckoo. Yeah, Cloud
I
Cuckoo
know the
Land.
trope Cloud Cuckoo Lander, like someone who is not attached to reality.
No, this
But
it's a new book. I think it's a new book called Cloud Cuckoo Land, and it's so far. If anybody's read this, no spoilers, please. But you can let me know what you thought of it. But so far, it's really interesting because it's telling the story of multiple time periods, but there are things that kind of are linking everybody, or they're going through similar circumstances, or there's this place, and it's like the city in the sky, and like that's Cloud Cuckoo Land, but like there's a present day middle school putting on a play of it while somebody is the document that supposedly inspired it, and then somebody else from the future is reading that. Like it's all these interesting like
Okay.
interwoven things. I'm like, okay, this is interesting so far, and there's a lot that's been going on that I'm like, okay, I wasn't expecting that, but I'm liking it so far. But I'm curious if anybody else. I went to the library and I'm like, what's the most popular thing right now? I'm going on a road trip. I need something. I'm like, I'll take
Fair.
something new, and because it could just be so overwhelming when there's just so much to pick from. And I
Yeah.
was like, I didn't have time to really like look. So
This is the point where I go, you need to read Final Girl Survivor Group, though.
but
Like,
is it a
you
book on
gotta.
tape?
I don't know if it is.
Okay, because this one was.
Okay.
I knew I was going to be in the car for like at a 6-hour chunk and another 6-hour chunk. So I'm like, what's a good one for a car?
That's fair.
Looking over at the chat here, Giga Derek says, binge Scrap Princess again. That's a good time. Would recommend. Thank you. Yeah, that's one that
You can see what I mean now when I talk about a Scrap Princess plot twist. You know what I mean.
I was like, you know.
No spoilers, but you know.
If you joined in late on this episode, we did talk about this earlier, but John Knight asked, Jujutsu Kaisen Zero yet? Yes, absolutely. I do highly recommend it. It's super fun. It's super. I mean, I did watch at home screener, and you know, this life of press people. If you could watch it in the theater, I would highly recommend that, because if you can and are comfortable and feel safe enough, then do it. Because it's just like seeing the action on a large screen, I think would be incredible. So I would say that too.
And whether you choose to watch it subbed or dubbed is equally valid.
Both are good. I watched it first in sub for my own personal enjoyment, and then in getting ready to talk to the cast, I went through and started watching the English version of it, and both are incredibly well done and a good time. So whatever you choose. Giga Derek points out, well, if you got 3 hours to kill, the Batman was good.
I don't have 3 hours to kill in a theater. Like, I was kind of hoping it would be on VOD the same way Matrix was, because, like, I don't take my mask off nowadays when I'm in a theater, so that means no popcorn and no, like, I'll do that for Scream, but I won't do that for Batman. I'm going to wait for that to show up on HBO Max and just do that. I think HBO. I don't know where it's going to be. I think HBO.
All righty. So those are some things we'd recommend for you all to check out.
Yes.
Thank you so much for joining us at Nighttime at the Nerd Bar, episode 19. Woo!
Yeah. Big 2-0 next time.
No. Like,
what?
My goodness. You know, I was having a conversation with someone the other day too, that they were saying like, oh, they started a podcast, and I think they got to about episode 7 or something, or just like how much work it is to do it. And it's like, it is pretty cool. And go us for still going and getting double digits and almost to 20. It's like, woo! So we are so excited that all of you keep coming back for us and watching, listening, live or not. Totally cool. We're so happy to have you here. Love y'all. Leave comments what you thought of the episode, and then also reach out to us online to continue that discussion. Katie, where can people find you online?
You can follow me all over the social medias, as well as on YouTube and Twitch at Kiaxet. That is Kiaxet. Again, at the moment, the Twitter is the most active if you would like to see my opinions on so many things. But that is mostly where I live. We're doing some work on the YouTube channel. We will see where things go, but yes, that is where I am. No new projects to announce, no new anything. We're here and it's happening.
Hey, that's still something. So follow you there to be up to date on things happening. Yes. You all can find me online at Carrie D Lane on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, all the things. And then, like I said earlier, too, come back to the Fanversation channel tomorrow live at 11 a.m. PT, that's Pacific Standard Time, for the interview with Danishka Esterhazy to talk about Astrid and Lily Save the World. And if you can't watch it live, again, same thing like here. Come back another time and watch it. We still are happy to have you.
Yeah.
And we'll be seeing you next time. All right, take care, be safe, and we'll see you. Bye.
Bye.